special guest in the house tonight, talented singer, Mr. Rob Symeonn.
Blessed.
Introduce yourself.
Rastafari, we give thanks and praise, first of all, to the Almighty, K.L.C.S, the first, Jah, Rastafari for life. I will give thanks and praise for the nice vibes, because the vibe is nice down here, you know what I mean? I will give thanks and praise for the nice music and everything right now, because the music is vintage.
Okay, I appreciate it. Okay, we got a lot to talk about tonight. You actually started recording music professionally in the year of '97, but before '97, I know there was a lot you were doing, as you would say, honing your skills.
Blessed.
Tell us how you got your start in the music industry.
Well, first of all, we started off on One Love sound system, and from One Love, because One Love still exists, enough respect to Debo out there, the selector, and from there we went to a set called Maccabee.
Yes.
And from Maccabee we went to a set called Freedom.
Okay. Now you specifically say we, which means you're including other people with this.
Yeah.
Who were some of the people around you?
In those times it was different singers, bridging, because you know it was on the job training. So it was different people that you would meet up with. You know what I mean? Enough respect to people like Rankin Joe and certain people that in those times and everything, you know what I mean, took the time and reasoned with you and gave you some insight on certain things. And in Brooklyn you would meet up with a whole bunch of different people in those times, you know what I mean, enough respect. And God bless his soul, Sluggy Rams.
Yes, R.I.P. Okay, so you came to the U.S., you started singing on sound systems, and as you would say, you had teachers around you like Rankin Joe to show you the ropes. But before you actually went on the sound system, what artists would you say inspired you to pick up a microphone and perform for people?
I like people like Fred Locks, you know what I mean? Someone like Dennis Brown, because you can't forget D Brown, you know what I'm saying? Even as early as Bob Marley, you know what I mean? Because everybody would listen to their Bob. And it would be other singers like maybe Marvin Gaye. You have certain other people that would influence you from American music also. Yeah, so okay. It was a whole thing, a conglomeration. Okay. You know what I mean? And when we put those things together, we made the item.
Okay, so you came to the U.S., you started singing live on sound systems. Once again, big up One Love, big up Maccabee, big up these sounds.
Truly.
Okay. When did you decide that you were going to go into the studio and professionally record as an artist? And who was the person that took you to that studio?
Funny as it would be, Easy Star Records was my first label that I recorded a song on. If you would do the research and the whole thing, my song Anything for Jah would be the first single that came out on that label. So a brethren named Rough Scott and I was at SOB's and we did a segment, and during that segment we was able to take the time and I was able to meet up with Easy Star and do that project. From the time I did Anything for Jah, after that I did a combination with Rankin Joe called Watch Out for the Liar.
Yes. Okay, now you went on to record numerous records with Easy Star. You were on compilations that they put out.
Truly. And then I went to Hawaii. From there I did my first album called Absolutely Hot. Second album was called The Chosen One. The third one that just came out now was called Indigenous. And I also have an EP out, right? It's called Whom Shall I Fear? And 2 other tracks is done combination-wise with my brethren Fraggle Ranks, Large Him Up Anyway.
Yes.
He there on the planet right now, even my brethren K.L.C.S. So it's a works. And I just came off a tour from Hawaii, and the people over there is very receptive to the music, you know?
Okay, we're going to talk about the tour in a minute, but before we touch on that, you said you actually recorded an album in Hawaii. Yeah. Which one of those albums was it that you recorded?
Absolutely Hot.
Okay, and what was the process? How did you end up in Hawaii, of all places, to record an album?
Good question still. Well, we went out there with a brethren, enough respect to Tony Rags. You might know him on Facebook and everything right now. But the great Tony Rags, Ozzy Delamore, another brethren of mine, and I went out there. And from there, the second trip I took down there, I stayed down there 2 months, and I was able to get with the Article crew and make the album within 2 months.
Okay. Most people, when they think of Hawaii, they would think of vacations, the beach, the sea.
No, brethren.
Tell us about the reggae scene in Hawaii.
Reggae scene is nice, and people have to know that what the good thing about it is people is embracing it, and the good thing also is that anywhere you go down there you can feel the love. Sometimes love is important.
Yes, definitely. Okay, among some of the people that you performed with, I'm looking at a huge list of artists, big names, Tony Rebel, Tiger, Sister Carol. How did you go about, after recording that initial project, how did you go about making these connections and performing with artists such as Tony Rebel?
Just linking, bridging, and just persevering and doing the works. Sister Carol is a great sister. Enough respect to her anywhere she's at on the planet right now too. And enough respect to Michael Palmer, because we just came off a tour with Michael Palmer at the time. Michael Palmer is a good brethren. You know
Big up Palmer dog, you see a couple of weeks ago.
Ah, well, you know that, you know the levels.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So enough respect to those people. Enough respect to Sugar Minot, to get to meet the great Sugar Minot. Enough respect to like Johnny Clark and Big Youth and them brethren. It's a big fraternity, brethren, and I just give thanks that within the King's works, the jazz allowed me to meet some of these people and to work with them.
It's a blessing. Okay, now we're talking about performances. Where are some of the places, apart from Hawaii, where are some of the places that you would say reggae music has took you as an artist?
Mexico, right? Humboldt, home of the good Cali, right?
Big up California.
Every time, right? San Diego, large up the San Diego Massive, Las Vegas, Portland. You know that way,
Yes.
brethren. So we give thanks, brethren, and Bermuda. And you can't forget Mexico. Large up all our Mexican family out there.
Okay, let's touch on Mexico for a minute, because there's obviously a language barrier there, where it's not an English-speaking country. How were you received performing in Mexico?
Very highly, brethren. We were just did a Mexico Fest with Horace Andy, and the vibrations was real nice. Some people think it's a language barrier, but sometimes Babylon will fool a lot of people that type of way too. It's not really what people think. Some people think it's a way over there right now, but the people is nice. They embraced I didn't really have no problems, right? And the funny thing people wouldn't realize is His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I visited Mexico and helped them with their railway, to put the first stone to build their railway system.
History.
So to be able to ride on that railway.
It's always beautiful hearing that reggae can reach these parts of the world, because you wouldn't think that reggae music is being played in Mexico. And also, it's great that the reggae music that they are accepting is the good reggae music, the ones with a good message.
Truly, truly.
Speaking of a good message in music, you have a Rastafarian way of life. It shows through your music.
Blessed.
What would you say is your message in your music? Is it a constant message? And what do you think of the message in music now, especially the dancehall, I would say?
My message in my music would be Rastafari, first and foremost. His Majesty. If it wasn't for His Majesty, I wouldn't be here. You might not be here. Even Father Jermaine, you know what I mean? So we have to look at the whole thing for what it is. The messages in the music. If I had to do any other music right now, I love other music sometimes, but this is what the Father has given I to gravitate to. So I try to keep it clean, and cleanliness is godliness.
Okay.
The state of the music right now, sometimes it's just prophecy, brethren. You know what I mean? We have to look at this whole thing and say to ourselves that if we don't, it takes a village. If we don't get together as a village and start to look at the youth and pull them in and tell them about the king, Rastafari, first and foremost. Money, I was just telling a brethren the other day, sometime I would rather first have my health than wealth. Money is not going to really get us through the times right now. We have to put our trust in the king first and foremost. And that's the message that I bring. Rastafari.
Okay, and one other thing that we discussed earlier off camera before the interview started that I want to point out to the younger artists now is you stress that you still try to release music on vinyl. I would think that came from your roots actually singing on sound systems. But what is the importance, you would say, of still releasing music on vinyl?
All right, that's a good question too. I love your questions, Turkey.
Appreciate it.
Father Jermaine would tell you the vinyl would give a warmth when you listen to it. Original vinyl has a warmth to it. Nowadays it's a CD, and no disrespect to technology, you know what I mean, but the warmth of that vinyl and everything, brethren, there's nothing that can replace that. Even if you listen to certain records from those times, the vinyl was so sturdy that it still plays today.
Yes.
And even if it didn't play, you could put a penny on a needle and make it right too.
Okay, so once again, big up the sound systems, big up the selectors, big up the operators.
Every time.
Big up the people who still cherish the art of sound system.
And big up the I King, because remember, we all play a part in this whole thing. Everyone has their part to play within the whole thing and with what they do. Rastafari has blessed you with a talent, because a lot of the questions that you have asked are real good questions, because sometimes on these things, people ask you questions that's different.
Okay.
Now.
Okay, I appreciate it. And speaking of vinyl, speaking of sound system, there was another popular producer that you linked with in New York.
Tickler.
Tickler. Okay. Tell us about your works with the dub master Tickler.
Brethren, enough respect to Tickler. I'm glad you had said that, because that's a brethren right now. Even my song, The Chosen One, this is a brethren right now where this is a man where when you go link him, it's just a different experience, you know what I mean? Through the years you work with different people, but this is a brethren where every time we were to get together like that, we always come out with something, you know? And that's a brethren where you don't mind working with him because he takes the art very serious.
Okay. So, big up to all the other producers that you worked with, but give us a little bit more of that vibe when you get in the studio with Tickler that makes you make that magic with him.
Brethren has the rhythms, we sit down with vibes, we have that type of rapport where when the brethren sits down and plays a rhythm, or we sit down and we get together, the brethren knows how to get the most out of your vibration, you know what I mean? So, large up Tickler, as I said, I'm working with him. We did another song called Pork Eater that people was gravitating to, and we always get a good reception to that, because as a Rasta man, I'm a vegetarian, so I don't really, you know, I don't eat the meat. So within the whole thing, that was a song where certain people could relate to it.
Okay. I love these types of conversations. You brought up the food, and that's something that I always stress, and I always try to grab that knowledge from the elders, from the Rastafarians. Tell us the importance of leading a vegetarian lifestyle.
Vital is vital. When you look at it, a lot of people are walking around right now and they wonder why they have certain ailments. When you have certain arteries and certain things that's clogged within your metabolism, that is not a good thing. It used to be a nice thing to be a big person, but now you see everyone trying to slim down to a certain size and be wise. We have to realize that the King, the Creator, put certain things on the earth for us to deal with, but he put certain things for us not ready to deal with. You have certain things, people say you are what you eat. I wouldn't want to walk around and be a swine.
Yes. Okay. What are some of the natural resources that you use on a day-to-day basis that our listeners should take heed to and use more?
Brethren, kale is a very good thing. You know what I mean? Kale is excellent for your metabolism. Beets, certain vegetation is good. Even in Hawaii, what you would have to realize is those brethren is getting certain vegetation that's fresh. Our vegetation, you have to look around to get the proper things. Sometimes it may cost a little more, and it might be a little bit harder on your pocket still, but if you want to get the most out of your liberty, you have to put the best in your system.
Okay. Okay, that's beautiful. We in Brooklyn, so it's definitely hard to find those spots, but for the listeners out there, if you're caring for your system, you would seek these things out.
Truly.
Okay, getting back to the music,
yeah,
the album works. What were some of the projects that you worked on with Tickler that has been released that our listeners could go out there and look forward to listening to?
A tune called Pork Eater, as I told you. We did another tune called Rabbi Land, about Babylon, how they stole and they took our land.
Yes.
Mother Africa. We have another tune, The Chosen One, who a lot of people would know.
Big tune.
Give Thanks, Brethren. We have another tune that we did called The Wicked I Go Feel It. We have another tune on my album that was just released, indigenous, called Trust in Jah Only. Not in mankind, they will lead you astray. So we've done a lot of work together, brethren, and some other versions. Another version that I didn't mention called She's My Queen. So we was able to do some significant works.
Okay, so moving forward from your early recordings back in the early 90s, 2005 you released The Chosen One. You worked with numerous different artists and producers on that project.
Sure.
What were some of the artists that you worked with on that Chosen One project?
Junior Kelly. We did another one with Symeonn. Enough respect to Willow Wilson.
Yes.
Wherever he's at right now, because Willow Wilson was instrumental within our doing it. Because Willow Wilson did a lot on the album also, right? Because we have a song together called No More Stabbing in the Back, Sneaky Attack, Straightforward for Natty Dreadlock.
Okay.
So large up Willow out there, right?
Beautiful voice.
Then
Beautiful singer.
Symeonn was featured on it, and another virgin named Temper, and we recorded our the tunes with Noel Alfonso, son of Roland Alfonso.
Yes.
So that was very integral, and it was an experience also. You know what I mean? And we went to Jamaica to mix the tracks. That was mixed out at Anchor Studio.
There was also another big play of instruments on that album.
A man called Mikey Assassin.
Yes.
Larger Mikey Assassin, the Fire Lord. You know what I mean? There was many. Sidney Mills did some keys for us on the whole thing, so there was a whole bunch of different brethrens from the fraternity that helped us, you know what I mean? Large up Bongo Herman.
That's what I was waiting on. Yes.
Alright, it arrived, okay. It's here. Large up Bongo Herman, large up Gussie from Anchor Studio, because we was able to do the mixing by Gussie.
Okay. Now, this is actually recording your albums that you're working with these talented musicians. When you go out to perform, do you have a band that you work with specifically, or are you working with?
We have different bands that we work with on the road like that. We when I did Reggae on the River, it was Quinta Soul. Okay. Quinta Soul is an excellent band from the West. We have another band that we have out there that we roll with when we go to the West. There's Run for Cover. There's different ones that we work with. And the vibes has been nice.
Okay, big up the whole West Coast again. Definitely playing a major part in the roots in the U.S.
Truly.
I would say even more than the East Coast. So it's great that you're getting out there and the people are seeing your face, and you're performing with these talented musicians.
Rastafari.
Okay, moving forward from 2005, The Chosen One album. What was the next album you worked on after that? Because you have a lot of work that you put out, and I'm trying to get the listeners in tune with the projects as they go along.
After that, it was singles. It came out. It was a song called King of the Chalice that Noel Alfonso did the producing on, right?
Okay.
And then from there, we did work with Vibronics, a song called To the Fullness.
And this is Vibronics from the UK?
Yeah.
Okay.
We work with Vibronics. I talked to a brother named Jeffrey Bowler from Youth Productions in Hawaii. And we started doing a couple of singles when we started to develop our Irie vibes. And I found out the brethren is dealing with Rastafari, which is right on my channel, Channel 1. We was able to link up, and from that we was able to do more works, and Indigenous was developed, and that was my third album.
Okay, so let me stop you for 1 minute. Working with Vibronics in the UK, did you actually travel to the UK to work with them?
I did my music over here, and they did what they had to do, but it was an experience because even working with Kush, let me not forget
Kush.
I did a single with Kush in that time called Can't Go Like That. That was doing good over there also. So we give thanks to Black Redemption, yeah.
Okay. A lot of talented producers, a lot of talented musicians that you worked with. Father German. Let's hear one of the joints now that Rob has on the road that the listeners could tune into.
These songs lead the way.
When we give thanks and praise to the Most High, Rob Symeonn says, "Do thyself, do thyself."
TGM Radio, K.L.C.S Caribbean Showcase. We in here with the talented artist Rob Symeonn tonight. You just got a chance to listen to Know Thyself, which is a ska tune.
Yeah.
Okay, let's educate the listeners right now about ska music. It's always been there. It was one of the original art forms in reggae music, but I would say that it fell by the wayside as of recent years. What made you record a ska tune, and what gave you that inspiration? What made you draw back for ska to bring to people in 2015?
Because when you really check it, Bridget, it never really sometimes people would get the perception that it fell like that, but if you look overseas,
it's big in Europe, yes.
Yes. And you see you have different markets, and you have to make music for everyone.
Yes.
If I just made music for just one direction, it would just be in one direction. Yeah, I have to keep it multifaceted. So what I try to do is try to reach everyone, and that one, the message within itself, even within the vibes and stuff, if you don't know yourself, in these times, you have problems.
Okay, so coming up as a young artist, I know ska had to be ahead of your time. What were some of the ska artists that you looked at and you said, when I start recording, this is one of the reasons I'm gonna do a ska tune?
Prince Buster.
The original.
Prince Buster. Well, you can't forget Prince Buster, and that's a bridge right now where a lot of people would listen into his music because that bridge has a catalog.
Yes. Okay. Big up all our friends in Germany.
Yeah.
Barney Miller, Sentinel Sound.
Yeah.
Big up all the sounds. We got this record, Know Thyself. Look out for it. Blast it out there in Europe, UK, because I know they're gonna love it.
Highly.
Okay. Apart from doing it on a ska rhythm, what was the inspiration behind Know Thyself?
Know Thyself, I see a lot of youth sometimes walking around now, and enough people don't really know themselves or take the time to know themselves. Some people don't research. A lot of people stop reading. And reading is a thing, right? Yes. If you leave that out right now, sometimes it's a privilege for us to read now, but at the time people had to go through a tribulation just to pick up a book and everything. So for those people that sacrificed themselves so that we can read and everything.
We wasn't allowed to read in years past.
Years past, it wasn't a thing where you was allowed to do those things right now. But when you look at it, when we have the privilege now, instead of taking advantage of that moment, a lot of people don't do those things, Bridget. You know what I mean? In order for you and I to learn, every day you're supposed to learn something. If you didn't learn something, you miss something.
Okay. Now, being based in the US, there's usually a disconnect with artists, not all of them, but the majority of the artists that would leave Jamaica and come to the US they find it hard being able to connect with producers and labels in Jamaica once they're based in the US. How have you gone about doing that? And has there been a difficulty in being able to connect with people on the ground in Jamaica to get your music out?
Not really. Really and truly we've been embraced. From the time I went there with K.L.C.S, and we started to roll out there. We even with the Chosen One, this Brethren Ramachet was playing it on his radio show. So we give thanks for the love out there. Really, what you have to realize is after a while people would realize and say to themselves, we're all doing jazz music, we're all doing jazz works. The division and people looking at it as it's all an African thing. It all comes forward to the same thing, African heritage. And we don't really know those things and we don't look into those things. It's better now than it used to be. We're brethren to starting to embrace each other's culture. You see different brethren hanging with each other and everything, where years gone by you wouldn't have seen those things all the time. People were just hanging their own little circles. But now things is broadening. So we give thanks, brethren, and it's embraced. Because people is looking at it where instead of people looking and saying it's a difference, people is starting to say that when you feel your vibes and it's real, nobody can take that from you.
Okay, and who are some of the producers and labels that you have worked with so far in Jamaica?
We did one song with this by Gussie and them at Anchor Studio. Some of those songs that came off of the Chosen One album was mixed by the brethren named Fata. And Fata is a producer out there and everything. Label wise, wouldn't say that we did a lot of work on that side, but the music has reached over there. Sometimes it's not really to have recorded it over there, but once the music can reach on that side and people can vibe with you, people know of your vibration.
Okay, and you've also had, I would say, dancehall producers link you and work with you as well, producers outside of the roots genre.
I wouldn't really say dancehall, brethren, you know what I mean? Sometimes if a beat is presented to I and it's on that type of level where it's a dancehall vibe and I can roll with it and it's my type of vibration, I would do it. I have a song on my EP now, my Whom Shall I Fear EP, called Pray with Fragga, and that's that kind of dancehall beat.
Well, again, we like to educate the listeners that dancehall is actually just a place.
Dancehall is a place, yes, but sometimes people look at it as a music, you know.
As a genre of music.
Yeah, I mean, you have different music. Some people would gravitate to the roots. Everyone has their flavor that they would gravitate to, you know what I mean? But I try to make, or I strive to make music for everyone.
Okay, I know you've worked with Conrad Crystal in the past.
We did sometimes.
Big up the Fireball label. You've been on, Jamaican music tends to share rhythms. So you have different artists on one rhythm. You've worked on some big rhythms before. What were some of the artists that you sang alongside on these compilations? Example of the tie stick.
The tie stick, Tristan Palmer was on that project. You know what I mean? When you say the tie stick, I tell you, that's been a little while. That was on Easy Star also.
Luciano as well.
Luciano, yes. The name of my tune on it though was Keep On Trying.
Yes.
You know? Yes. So, you know, and that, yes, look like you've done your homework though, man, and that's a good thing.
Good artists. You gotta, when you start looking into artists and you see good things and you hear good music, makes you want to delve deeper.
Bless that.
Okay. So let's talk about the upcoming projects. Let's talk about the current project. You have currently you have an EP on the road right now that the listeners could go out and purchase.
Yeah.
What is the name of that EP?
Whom Shall I Fear?
Whom Shall I Fear? And what is the vibe on that EP? Do you have any videos released off of it?
A video called For It Also that we shot in Hawaii, in Maui.
Beautiful.
And if anything, since you have your video show, I will forward it over to the eye so you'll be able to check it out and vibrate.
Okay, but we want the listeners to get in tune. We want the listeners, when they turn off TGM radio, to go straight to YouTube, and look up some of these videos. What's the name of that video you currently have now?
Whom Shall I Fear?
Whom Shall I Fear? Shot in Hawaii.
Yeah,
Maui. Check it out. Beautiful artists, beautiful music.
Blessed Virgin.
And Hawaii's a beautiful visual, goes without saying.
Rastafari.
Okay, moving into the 2016. I know you fresh off a tour in Hawaii. You're constantly working on music.
Yes,
so I know you have a catalog ready for the listeners in 2015. Tell us what you're working on moving forward.
Well, I have some singles on the road right now. I have a single called All Time Something on the K.L.S. label. And they get ready to put out some singles on my work and everything. And then with Youth Promotions, we get ready to work on another album, because with Absolutely Hot, we got a very, very good response, and enough respect to the people out there that has been following the music and hovering in on vibration. So we got a good response on the whole thing, so we're working on another album now.
Okay, so we're gonna deal with currently what the listeners could go out there and grab. Your music is digitally distributed, iTunes, Amazon, stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
Father German, that Old Time Something track, let the listeners hear that so they can get in tune with him again. Yes, yes. Tuned in once again, TGM Radio, Kingline Caribbean Showcase. That was one of your new singles entitled Old Time Something.
Julie.
I love the whole vibe of the tune.
Bless her.
Even though it's a new tune, it's an old time something, an old time vibe. Big up some of the new artists now that's putting their energy into producing good music. Big up the artists Focus, Ross Clever, some of the younger artists now that's doing positive music. Touching back on the new singles, the upcoming project that you got, that's one of the joints that's going to be on this upcoming project. What again can the listeners look forward to on the new? Is it a long playing or is it an EP that you're releasing in 2016?
2016 will be a full-length album.
Okay, so the listeners could look forward to vibes like that on the upcoming 2016 project. What are some of the producers you're working with on this project?
King's Rhythms from you would probably know them and see them on Facebook, right? Other brethren from Hawaii. There's a couple of different brethren that we would have on there that would be featured. A brethren named Bobs that we're working with as a producer. It's a conglomeration, so people can have good things to look forward to, and the tracks will be real, real different.
And this is Youth Productions you're speaking of?
Yeah.
Okay, so look out for the upcoming project 2016.
Truly.
With Youth.
Yes, I.
Out of Hawaii.
Truly.
The reggae music is reaching far, far corners. and this is courtesy of artists like yourself, so I'm proud to do this interview with you.
Bless her, man. Bless her.
Okay. Now, an important thing in 2015 is social media. It's an easy way for fans to contact you, producers to link you, other artists to link you.
Truly.
Where can these people go online to find you at now? What platforms are you on?
They can find me on Facebook, right? They can find me on Instagram. They can, anytime you look up Youth on Youth Productions, you will see my music come up. And we're doing it, Reggie. If anything, at Twitter I don't really do too tough and everything, but these other, Facebook will be the main source.
Do you have music available on SoundCloud? Have you tried out SoundCloud?
SoundCloud, yeah.
Okay, and then once again you have the YouTube with the videos.
Yeah.
And on these platforms, your name is listed as Rob
Symeonn.
Okay, Rob Symeonn, pardon me. And that is spelled
Symeonn.
Okay, we just want to make sure the listeners get the right page.
We love it, Bridget.
Okay, so that's Facebook, Instagram, SoundCloud, YouTube. The upcoming releases, the releases that you have out now, it's available on iTunes, Amazon, major digital platforms.
Truly.
you even have some vinyl in the stores.
Yes.
So you could check out Randy's.
Yeah.
You could check out
Yeah.
all the old vinyl spots.
Yeah, it's out there.
Okay. Again, I appreciate you keeping the vinyl alive, the dub culture alive.
Rastafari, we have no choice, Brethren. Rastafari's works is great, and we had to do them.
Okay, what we gonna do right now is something that we usually do every week, where Father G throwing a rhythm for the artist to perform live. With you now, I'm expecting the fireworks to go off because this is where you came from.
Brethren, Rastafari, K.L.C.S works.
Father G, you ready? TGM Radio, King Lion Caribbean Showcase.
When we give thanks and praise unto Selassie the first, the Most High, live it and reign and rule. Sitting by my open fireplace, with my favorite things can see. I hummed a few bars of a melody that sounded good to me. I finally got up to take a look around, but my feet got in the way. I stumbled through the door, she was right on the floor. I hear the music play. How could it be? The song ran away from me. My best friend's gone, and some of them all alone. They really miss King Lion. See it as the #1 song. Rob Symeonn is in town. But they really miss you, King Lion. Rubber dub play all the while. We do it in a rubber dub style. Listen. Coming in the dance, you will love it. For the juggling, you will love it. See music like this, no them can't resist. Some of them jump, yeah, some of them twist. Mr. Symeonn say, come on. Tip on the rubber dub style, come on. Cause it up with the foreign or with the Brooklyn. Coming out the place, some a top round kid. Smoking Symeonn, some smoking. Coming out the dance and they gravitating. For the Germans playing. Cause rubber dubs what we say. Style, live it up, selector. We give them some praise for life, kid.
Yes. Yes. Okay. I actually wanted more, man. Beautiful voice again. Classic song. In your own words, in your own way. Beautiful.
Rastafari.
I appreciate the energy. I appreciate the love.
Well, I give thanks, you know what I mean? Yeah, we love the vibes down here. You feel very comfortable.
TGM Radio, King Lion Caribbean Showcase. Before we tune out, I know there's a host of people that you're going to want to give a shout out to. You may not be able to catch all of them, but send some love to the people.
First of all, we want to thank Rastafari, first of all, for life. Second of all, we want to thank our sister Kendra in the place. Large up yourself. We want to say enough respect to Father Jermaine, because a long time he's been doing the work, you know what I mean? Some people don't realize what goes on behind the scenes. They only see what they see and everything, but they don't realize the work that goes into these things. We want to large up Janelle, because we've been talking to her and corresponding with her on the internet, and she keeps everything professional. So we love that vibration and everything. We want to large up our Brooklyn Massive, our people that's tuning in. As I said, all entertainers. There's too many of a list to name and everything right now.
Understandable.
We want to large up Jayu Productions because, as I said, that's the label that's putting out the works. We want to large up our Facebook Massive because there's a whole bunch of people out there, too much more to name and everything from there. Everyone who's tuning in, we give thanks and praise for the love that we receive and the genuine people that's out there. You know what I mean? We give thanks and praise. You know what I mean? And for the eye, as I said, the works you do and the questions that you've asked, we give thanks because it's questions that's vital.
Appreciate the love. TGM Radio, King Lion Caribbean Showcase. Don't forget to check out that Einody Sundays, one Drop Mondays, Link Up Tuesdays. Father German out here working hard. Check out all those events. You could go to the Facebook page, King Lion Caribbean Showcase. Check out Rob on Facebook. Check out Bright Light on YouTube. Check out Kingline Caribbean Showcase on YouTube. Every Monday, TGM Radio, Kingline Caribbean Showcase.
One more thing, Reggie.
Yes.
For those people out there who would want to see it live and to hear more and everything, talk to Father Jermaine, and we're gonna make something happen.
Okay, speaking of live, you have any upcoming shows that the people could come out and see you performing?
In Brooklyn, sometimes we've been recording more than we've been performing, but my next one might be out of town. You know what I mean? To tell you the truth, I might be in Brazil.
Okay. Again, big up Sentinel Sound, just fresh out of Brazil. I'm hearing a lot about the reggae roots scene in Brazil. I'm happy that it's someone of your caliber going down there to represent the music. Bless you on your journey.
Every time. Keep thanks.
Every Monday, we here, 7 to 9. Kingline Caribbean Showcase. UK, 9 to 12. Check us out. Check out Rob Symeonn again on Facebook. Kingline Caribbean Showcase on Facebook. Much love to the listeners. See you next week.
Rastafari.